what I'm about to talk about in a second. How many of you have been completely drowning in work, in life, in whatever area? You think, oh my God, I need to talk to this friend. So you pick up your phone and you start texting the text. And this voice comes in and says, why are you texting them? They're way too busy for you. They are probably going to think you're a bit crazy. They have their own shit going on. Like, they don't have time for you. And then you close out the text and you sit in your shit. Well, I have done that many, many times as someone who is in recovery of hyper independence. So today we're talking about why it's so damn hard for strong women to ask for help. Welcome back to the Mindset Mirror Mixer, your health happy hour. What's up, guys? I am Christina Hathaway. I am a licensed associate marriage and family therapist here in this great state, very hot state of Arizona, as well as a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. And my whole goal in life is to help women specifically realize that their brains are connected to their bodies and that everything that we think affects how we behave and creates the outcomes that we have in life. And today we're going to talk about an outcome that I think a lot of us feel really stuck in and build a lot of resentment from. And it's the idea of not asking for help. And as I mentioned, part of my story, and still to this day, this is something that I struggle with. And as I've been posting about it on YouTube Shorts and on TikTok, I realized so many other women struggle with this. So I'm very, very excited to talk about that today. But first, because it's our health happy hour, I've got my mocktail. Today is Junie. I got these at Costco. This is a raspberry adaptogen tea, and it's 5 calories. So I'm going to give it a go. Make sure you guys have your drinks ready for you. Because remember, this is our health happy hour. So a little mocktail, little THC. There's no THC in this. Hey, maybe we'll do that one of these times. So let's check it out. Cheers to you guys. Oh, that's good. Junie. That's that. Okay. So when is the last time you've needed help? I want you to think about that because I want you to always use our conversations as a time to gain awareness and insights around something that's happened to you recently. So I want to know, when's the last time that you really needed for help and you did exactly like I did, as we talked about in the intro? You talked yourself out of it. You decided that the time to spend on you wasn't worth it. Or maybe you think, well, then I have to pay this person back. Or maybe you think like they don't want to hear it. They have too much on their plate. Or even you felt embarrassed, right? Maybe you did ask for help and it felt embarrassing to you. You thought, oh my God, now they're going to think I'm weak. This cringe is real. The cringe is real. And today we're going to talk about what it looks like in real life. So how many of you watching, let's do A, B, or C. When you need help from anything, A, the person who's going to respond in the chat, A is, I know exactly who to ask. I ask right away and I don't feel any guilt afterwards. That's A. For B is, I can ask a few people and I always try to make up for it. And C is, I don't ask anybody for shit and I'm sitting here in resentment. Where are you guys at today when it comes to asking for help? And I know I'm making a joke of it, but it is so true, especially for the, on TikTok and stuff, they're calling it kind of the like older child era, but I'm the youngest. I am not the older child. I'm not the older daughter. I'm the youngest daughter, actually. And my sister is very much the older daughter, like mentality that people are talking about on Instagram. And so as the youngest daughter, who also is a helper, I tend to rescue her, right? And I say, hey, how are you? And she's the role, like the what's the word? Not role. She's the model for this, right? Like she's She is all of the things we're talking about today. So if you ask for help and you cringe, let's figure out what we're doing and let's figure out why it's there. So obviously for me as a licensed therapist, I'm always going to look at where did these things start from? Because I think it's important for us to understand like how we became who we became. I think it's really important for us to know why we're here so that we can change it. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go back and process it. Now, yes, if it's trauma and it's consistently affecting you, yes, that's where traditional therapy would come in. But unfortunately, it's C. Yes, I'm glad you're here, my girl. So, I want to talk about the personality types and the personality types that, again, as you've learned on this live stream, these are things that we learn very, very young. For those of you who will be listening to this or who are new, the idea is that when we're young, our brain is going to pay attention to how we are seen, heard, loved, and safe. And oftentimes, there are a few things that knock all four of these out. And for a lot of us, that is people pleasing, which we'll talk a lot about today, productivity and achievement, right? A lot of things that disconnect us from who we are and create this version of us that meets the needs of everyone else because our brain thinks that is what's going to keep me seen, heard, and loved, basically. So the first identity that I want to talk about, and I want you guys to listen to these because I will be asking you which one you relate to the most, is the competent one, right? The competent one, the strong one. You are the core of your household. Oftentimes we see this with an elder. I wouldn't even say an elder child because I think about my nieces and nephews, and actually my niece is the middle child. And she's like the one that's super dependent, whereas the older is a little bit more anxious and reserved, and the younger is like crazy, right? But I won't say that it's always an elder. I think it definitely has its waves in regards to the system itself, especially with the parents and how everyone interacts. But the competent one is being the strong one. Like that is who you are at the core, asking for help to someone who is always seen as reliable, as strong, mommy's little helper. That is going to become your identity. It is your core. And when that's your identity, you're going to act out to ensure that you maintain that identity because that maintains your love and your safety. So you're going to, even if you don't want to do a thing or you're tired or you don't like the thing, you're going to forego your own needs to be the reliable one or the strong one, whatever that looks like. And you don't know any better other than doing for others, right? So when asking for help threatens that identity, you basically are in this really uncomfortable position. Asking for help and showing the vulnerability and this armor of I'm reliable, I'm the strong one is so scary to that person. And so when we're thinking about the competent one, mommy's little girl, the strong one, you tie self-respect, you take your self-respect basically and your needs, right? So you put those to the side to maintain the respect of everyone else. Okay. So like your self-respect, your needs, your wants, your desires, you put those to the back burner and you maintain everyone else's needs, everyone else's desires, and you ultimately, you don't get what you want. So the next one is the person who is the parentified child. So so thinking about like the strong one, competent one, in the family dynamics, there's still like a mother and child. There's this clear dichotomy or clear separation between the two. Whereas a parentified child is a bit different. A parentified child is exactly what it sounds like. A child is put into a parent role, which they should never be. Whether that is a surrogate spouse, and when I say that, I don't mean anything abusive or sexual, or a surrogate parent, okay? So a surrogate spouse is when your parents had issues in their relationship, or maybe not issues, maybe one of the parents worked a lot and the parent at home overshared. They talked about their emotions with you, their hurts, their feelings. They didn't have boundaries with you. So as a child, obviously you don't want mommy or daddy to be sad. You want to make sure they're happy, right? So you begin to caretake that parent in this kind of friendship role rather than a child where that parent should be talking to one of their friends, not you. The parentified role is even scarier to me at times because oftentimes an elder child will be put in charge of younger children. And the problem with this is that they don't have the skills to take care of a younger version of themselves, yet they oftentimes get brownie points when everyone's fine. But how often is everyone fine? They get scolded for making mistakes when it comes to parenting their younger siblings. So what do they do in these cases? You know, if mom or dad is boundaryless, they're going to keep trying harder to people please and caretake. And with the siblings, they're going to think, okay, well, I've got to be perfect. I've got to make sure that I'm doing everything right. And I've got to make sure that, you know, I don't even ask for help with my siblings because that's mommy gets mad when I ask her for help too. She expects me to know this. You guys getting it? Yeah, it's fucked up, right? And then, of course, my high achieving ladies, right? The performance based, the achievement based person, the help when you're kind of always the one who people look at and think, God, she just does everything so well. Like she never needs anything, right? She's just good at everything she does. She's gifted. She's brilliant. That's a big, strong identity to hold and to carry, and something that takes a lot of emotion to keep up on, right? I know this because I have people tell me sometimes, like, you're good at everything you do. And I love that compliment, but I'm not good at everything I do. I'll tell you that right now. I hear that compliment in my head when I go to ask for help. Crazy, right? Where I'm good at everything I do, so why would I possibly need help? But that comes from an experience of achievement and earning my worth through productivity and achievement and being good at things. So for the person who is like, I'm a little bit of all of these, to be honest with you, but you guys might say that too. But you're basically taking away praise when you ask for help. You're saying, no, like this, I'm not asking for praise right now. I'm actually asking for support. I'm being vulnerable. And for people who are achievers, that's like kryptonite. Is kryptonite. So for those in the chat, are we number one, the strong, reliable one, like mommy's little helper? Are we number two, like parentified child? So those are very much different, right? Parentified child, boundaries are very blurred in the family and you're put in kind of an adult position. Or are we number three, where we are the achiever? We are always good. We're always in control. We're perfect. Yes. Put it in the chat. I would love to see it. I'm going to take a little sippy. So while you guys are putting that in the chat, I want to talk about like what the cringe feels like in real life. So you may not even realize you're doing it until I talk about these things. So I'm going to read off the list just to make sure I get them all. So downplaying your needs even before you ask. Like saying little passive aggressive comments like, this isn't really a big deal, but could you, right? Preloading the request, like, I know you're busy, but over explaining yourself as if you need to like explain how you got there and that this is not common for me, or over apologizing like, I'm so sorry, but you know, I just, you know, I'm so sorry. Can we stop saying sorry, ladies? Like, every fucking time someone says sorry when it's excuse me, excuse me is the proper word there. You should not be apologizing for existing in my space unless you deliberately decided to do something to hurt me or whatever, get in my way, which you're probably not doing. Anyway, I digress. Or offering a trade, reciprocation. You say, okay, well, I'll make up for it by blah, blah, blah. Okay. The other part is deeper, feeling like asking for help is failure, thinking that asking for help is makes you feel exposed and vulnerable, right? Thinking that asking for help or your needs to be met will end a relationship. If that's the case, my lovies, that relationship is not for you. So I want you to think about it. Like, am I doing that? Do I over explain, over apologize, over trade, right? Do I preload the request? I know you're busy, or do you think you'd have, we always say these things in business, especially. I'm trying to think of something that recently happened that I had to go back and remove the beginning of the sentence because it was one of those preloaded, one of those preloaded kind of requests. And I try to be very direct. Actually, if you work with me, you'd probably say I'm very direct. Not because I'm a direct person, but sometimes because of my ADHD brain, I just need to answer you and I forget to say good morning. Or, hey, hi, hello. I'm just like, oh shit, I've got to ask that person that thing. And I'm like, hey, do you want to join this networking group? And then I'm like, also hello. Usually I'll say also hello because I'm like, shit. Once I get the thing out, then I'll say also. Anyways, I found myself doing the preloading when I was emailing this person. And I said, okay, back it up, erase it, say hello, ask for your needs to be met in an assertive way. We're not being aggressive. We're not being passive, just assertive. And we move on and all was well in the world. So we have, coming back to the identities, we've got number one, the strong one, right? The reliable one. Good. So let's talk about what is the cost of this. So what is the cost of never asking for help? Well, I think you guys can already hear, for some of the things I've talked about. Number one, there is a true sense of burnout that can happen. And not just physical burnout. I think that's what people kind of turn to of, I'm going to be exhausted. Like I'm going to be overworked or overtired. But there is a mental burnout that then turns into resentment. There's also a lot of isolation when we can't ask for help. And for me, when I was grieving the loss of my father, so for those who are new here, I lost my dad in August. It shook my world. Obviously, my dad was literally my best friend in the whole wide world. I cried about him last night. So if I cry again, it's not abnormal for this podcast. It was not, the death of my dad obviously was very hard on me, but it was even harder because I would just be here miserable in this room in multiple times, you guys. I would be like, blah, 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 and erase. Like I did it over and over and over again. And it was very isolated. I felt very alone. I felt so alone. And I didn't want to go talk to my husband about it because I had been crying so much in front of him. And there were certain friends I could talk to, but I didn't want to talk to too much, And I created my own loneliness, my own isolation. And I finally talked about that, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. I finally just talked about this exact thing I'm talking to you guys about now. And it helped so much. So when we shrink our capacity, right? So our capacity is like not only shrink, I guess the word's not shrink, but like when we're not aware of our capacity, because our mental, this all has so much room for so much shit. And we need to delegate sometimes to like lighten our load and allow for our capacity to kind of calm down, right? We don't want to ever be doing anything that's over our capacity to handle it, but we do that all the time, right? So when our allostatic load or all the shit that we got going on in our life is high, one of the easiest ways to lighten the load is to delegate and ask for help, right? But when we refuse to do that, it's again, it mentally burns us out. So what are the consequences? Anxiety, thinking about things all day long, sadness, feeling like you don't have a connection to people. Those are not great places we want to be. Aches and pains, gut health issues. Like this living, like holding all of your shit in your body has so many physical ailments connected to it. I can list it off because you're constantly stressed. You're constantly thinking about it. Think about a balloon just constantly getting air pushed in it, and you are not letting any of that air out because you can't ask for help. So it's going to pop at some point, and that pop could be a panic attack. That pop could be a diagnosis of some sort. That pop could be you going off on people like in the middle of a store like a Karen, and someone put you on TikTok and now you're viral because you were an asshole because you can't ask for help. I don't think that's why people do that, but maybe, right? When you didn't ask for help as a little one, like that helped you survive. Now that strategy doesn't work. Its strategy doesn't work for you. So, so what do we do? Right? What do we do here? Well, first things first is we need to recognize the things that we're doing. So pay attention to how you talk yourself out or when you're talking yourself out of help. Or, yes, so I've experienced the burnout part 100%. Yep. Working, go to the ICU. Yes. Oh my gosh. So, especially when you're in high stress situations like that, and I'm guessing that your ability to stay calm in like hectic situations is something you've learned. I would probably say that might come from trauma. A lot of people, I was watching this something on TikTok, I don't remember what it was, but she goes, "Why am I so good at like reading people?" She said, "Trauma." I was like, "Meh." um you start to yeah, you start to people start to notice it, and they start to praise you for it, and you hold it in, you hold it in, you hold it in because you're so afraid of losing all of that validation, right? So what do we do? Number one, we need to just be aware. We need to be aware of the hyper independent aspects of ourselves. So I want you guys to realize that hyper independence is on one end of the spectrum and over dependence on the other. The goal is not to swing from one side to the other. It's actually to be in the middle. And the goal is to create oh my god, I lost the word. Interdependence. Wow. Interdependence, which is I can do it myself and I can ask for help, right? So hyper independence and over dependence all come from a trauma style background, right? And trauma doesn't always have to be the really bad things. It could just be those small things we talked about earlier. So we want to be paying attention to what are my hyper independent reactions and behaviors or things that I do in relation to others. So I know for myself, it is starting the text and stopping it, not even starting the text, already deciding that somebody else is too busy, knowing exactly what I need in a moment, and then trying to get it by any means necessary other than asking directly. And that usually comes out in like irritability, right? Um, what else? What else? I think those are mine. So I want you to be thinking about what are yours. Then I want you to pay attention to when those things are triggered. Speaking of asking for help, my best friend from Oklahoma just texted me. I want you to think about when those things are triggered. So when you're starting to do that text, what does it feel like inside? Do you feel panicked? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel overwhelmed? What do you feel like in your body when you're in that position? It's very important, you guys, to pay attention to the signals in your body when you are experiencing any of your trauma responses, of course. So what am I thinking? How am I feeling physically? How am I feeling emotionally? Then I want you to just be aware. Be aware of the triggers, what is happening in your body, and what's happening around you. How did we get here? How did all this fucking air get in this balloon? Pay attention to that as well. So that's number one. Number two is we've got to practice asking for help in small increments to expose ourselves to doing it. So I talked about this on TikTok of like asking someone to get you a cup of coffee, or asking someone to pick up something that fell, or letting someone open the door for you. I haven't really talked about this, but I used to work at a therapeutic boarding school, and I worked there for a short time because I actually didn't really agree with some of the things they did there as a clinician. But one of the things they did, which I thought was really interesting, is for the parentified children, they would put them on these challenges where they couldn't do much for themselves other than like bathe and poop and pee and get dressed, of course, where people had to hold their books. They had to wear their backpacks. They had to open the doors for them. They had to pick out their food. I don't remember everything, you know. It was a tough challenge for a lot of these girlies. Like one of my clients, I mean, she was 17, 18 years old, and she was keeping the lights on in her mother's house because her mom was an addict at 17. And of course she ended up with us because she was burnt out. So you don't have to do that, but like find those little ways of asking for help that feel comfortable up front. So it could be a little small task at work. So if we're in the ICU, for example, and God bless ICU nurses, by the way, my dad was in ICU, and the nurse, speaking of an angel, she heard my dad after he got his tube out that he wanted an apple fritter. And this beautiful angel, and I forget her name, St. Joseph's Hospital, Phoenix, Arizona, went home and baked him homemade cinnamon rolls between her shifts. And I made sure to hook her up with a Dutch Bros coffee and a card, and we were just so thankful for her. Anyway, that might look like, can you put a new bedpan in room 2? Right? Can you grab me some sheets? Can you chart this for me? I don't know if that's legal or not. So thinking about those small things that you can do to start with, and then growing from there. Okay. So I want you to be thinking about what is a few things that I can do right now this week, or I'm committed to doing to ask for help. I want you to put it in the chat. Then allow the help to happen. This is the fun part. You gotta let the help happen. You know, sometimes I need a cup of coffee, like in this office, because your girl is, I think I'm really good at planning things, but I very much am neurodivergent, and I know how much time I have, and I'm pretty good at my routine, but I'll get right up to, you know, the deadline of what I need to be doing. And so sometimes I say, Mark, can you get me a cup of coffee? Bring it in the office. Does Mark make my coffee the way that I make my coffee? No. However, he brings me coffee. So I accept it because I can't make my coffee in that moment. And I'd like coffee, and Mark can bring me coffee. So I just need to let go of control. So you might ask, right? And kind of think, this isn't what I like. This isn't what I want. Like, they're not going to do it right. Let go of control. Or let go of minimizing it, right? Don't minimize, don't redirect it, don't take over if they're not doing it right. If the outcome gets done, let it go, right? This receiving thing is real work, y'all. It's real work. You gotta just let it be enough, and say thank you. You're not giving them feedback because they didn't do it your way. Because guess what? They're not you. Okay. So we're going to actually let the receiving happen. Then we're going to watch the urge to reciprocate. Okay. So the second your brain starts doing that thing about how you're going to send her a whole, what are those fruit things? Those fruit baskets? Why is my brain not working? What are they called? You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to send her a whole floral fruit basket because she helped me with this email. No, we're not doing that. You do not have to reciprocate. If you're helping someone solely for them to do something good for you, that is codependent. You're doing something with the expectations of someone to do something back for you. No, we don't do that. Reciprocation is not the jam. Now, could you be there for someone? So, for example, one of my very best friends lost her dog today. And I already was like, okay, I'm going to send her flowers. Like, I've been there. I lost my dog literally 6 months before I lost my dad. So I'm going to send her flowers, right? Now, did I go look and see, did she send me flowers? No, I'm just doing it because I love her, right? So we don't do that, but be aware of your nervous system trying to kind of restore that familiarity of like, well, you did it for me, so I'm going to do it back for you, especially if that was something in your own household. We didn't talk about that. There are households where it's like, if you're good for mommy, then she'll be nice to you. What? No. Like, you should be a good parent even when your kids are assholes because you're the adult. I know, as someone without kids, you can come at me, but you should have the emotional maturity and also a good strategic system, disciplinary system, consequence system in place to handle it. You don't tit for tat with your children, but some parents do that. So I want you, when you're feeling that discomfort, to reciprocate, to just name it, just expect it. It's going to be there, right? And receive without immediately trying to balance the scale, right? Just receive it and allow it. And lastly, sit with that discomfort. It's going to be there. It's going to feel awkward. You're going to feel exposed. It's going to feel wrong. That doesn't mean it's a mistake. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have done it. It actually probably means it's exactly the thing you need to do. Anytime we feel discomfort in something in ourselves that we're changing, that isn't true pain, right? Or a strong emotion, it's probably because it's new to us and it's going against our norms, going against the patterns of relating that have been created for us in our family of origin. But the good news is they were created. So now we're recreating. Okay. So I want you guys to think about what's one area of your life right now where you're refusing to ask for help. And as I mentioned, I want you to write in the chat. I want to know, what is one small way you're going to ask for help in the next week to start exposing yourself to this? I'm going to think about for myself. You guys would be so proud of me. So while you guys are putting that in the chat, I'm launching the most simplified program of At the Mindset of Matter that I've ever launched before. This program is based on the skills that my most successful clients do, the habits that not only do they do to get results when it comes to their health and wellness, whatever their journey is, but that they permanently do if no one is watching, because that's really important. So this, we're calling it Plant, Water, Bloom. It's an 8-week collective. And it's 5 simple habits each day. And every week you're going to do a check-in. And in that check-in, we're actually going to score how stressful the next week is going to be. And then for the 5 habits each day, you will actually have a resource, like a enormous amount of resources, including meal prep, recipes, exercises, all based on how stressful the next week will be. So, for example, if you do your check in and we decide you need like a soft start to the week, you're going to get meal prep plans. Well, I don't want to call them plans. They're recommendations, like meal recommendations, recipe recommendations that are 5 minute or less prep. Then with your workout, it's also going to be like a 10 to 15 minute, very strategic workout that you can do that's not going to make you feel more stressed out. The whole goal is for the clients in this program to learn the types of skills and flexibility that is required to maintain your health habits. Whether you want to continue to lose weight, you want to lose weight, you want to learn how to create permanent habits, this is an amazing collective. So why am I telling you this? I never, ever ask my friends to support my stuff. I never, ever ask them to support my things in my business. So I text all of them and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what it is. And would you mind maybe posting about it? Because some of my friends have really big platforms. And every single one of them was like, absolutely, sounds great, love it, send me the info. So I did ask for help today. All right, so let's see here. Small ways is asking for help setting up the classroom. I now work in, oh, very cool. I switched past recently from burnout. Yeah, that's why I left therapy. So asking help setting up the classroom. I absolutely love that. And it can be fun. You could put music on and, I guess it's college. So I don't know if you can put music on, but getting the classroom ready for the day, that is wonderful. Wonderful way to ask for help. And learning to sit with how good that feels. Sitting with it and being able to say, like, I survived. That was nice. I have a little bit, and you'll notice as you kind of delegate, right, the things that you can, that it opens up so much room in your brain for other things, right? And those other things could be self-care, right? They can be ways to take care of yourself, because as you allow people to take care of you, you can take care of yourself, which is also probably something that for a lot of us listening is also new. Because remember, the whole reason we're learning to ask for help is because we've always been the helper. And if we've always been the helper, we usually haven't helped ourselves. So that's it. I hope this landed with you all today or whenever you're listening. I have been watching the live streams and people are watching them afterwards. So I've been putting a lot of effort in making sure on my TikTok and my Instagram. So TikTok and Instagram's at the Mindset of Matter. YouTube, of course, you're here, is the Mindset Mirror Connection Pod. And I've been putting it out there that this live stream is happening because this is what, our third or fourth episode, and we're getting views on it, so hopefully people will start to join us live. Tell your friends. But again, if you're interested in the Plant Water Bloom Collective, it will start April 16th. It is $197. I'm thinking of it as being kind of a trial to working with me, because what I do is so significantly different than any other coaching program out there. Everything I do meets the client where they're at. Plus, the clients in the collective will also receive access to the mindset method, which is the psychological curriculum that I use to help people let go of self-sabotage and failure narratives that often get in their way of whatever it is they're doing. I mean, you self-sabotage asking for help, right? So it's a really nice way to kind of work with me, learn me, see how I roll, plus create a wonderful foundation around your health and wellness. I will have the link on my channel under the notes. So just make sure to check that out. But love you guys. Thank you for being here. And next week, I did decide I am going to, no, I'm not going to do that. I decided on my next episode. What was I going to talk about? I forgot. Well, I was going to do an overview of the collective, but I'm going to push that out a little bit. Kind of the 5 habits that if you follow them, you will be incredibly successful in regards to health, wellness, energy, the way your clothes fit, all of that. Um, and so now I forgot. Well, maybe next week is learning how to remember things. Anyway, love you guys. We are going to have some amazing episodes on the pod, so stay tuned for that. I've got amazing interviews coming up with my boy Ben. He's a local trainer here in the Valley, and really, we had such a great conversation. It was one of those conversations where I have notes and then we just started rolling. Like we just started chatting. It was great. I'm going to have the infamous Sal DiStefano from Mind Pump on the podcast. We're talking all things body image, which I'm so excited about. I also have, let me just pull up her name because I don't want to get it wrong. So Benjamin Brown is going to be coming your way on March 30th. This Monday, I have a solo episode, Why Your Period Changed, Postpartum and Perimenopause. So please make sure you've got that in. We have March 6th. It's not the chores, it's the ownership, the mental load gap. So it's called the load gap between what women do and what their partners do, and not realizing that gap between those two things and how much it affects women. So this goes with the category today, or the topic today. And then I said Sal, and then Dr. Tila Tomasetti. She talks all things birth trauma. I'm so excited to chat with her. And then I have my friends Brittany and Ian Sammons coming on to talk about their experiences as a couple in the fitness industry and how different their experience has been as male and female, and then seeing each other kind of interact with everyone else. So a lot of cool things coming your way. Other than that, I'm going to let you go because I just keep talking. We'll see you next time.